God can only be experienced, and you experience Him whether or not you realize it, through your own existence. He is not male or female, however, and I use the terms only for convenience sake. In the most unescapable truth, He is not human in your terms at all, nor in your terms is He a personality. Your ideas of personality are too limited to contain the multitudinous facets of His multidimensional existence. On the other hand, He is human in that He is a portion of each individual, and within the vastness of his experience, He holds an ideal shape of Himself as human, to which you can relate. He literally was made flesh to dwell among you, for He forms your flesh in that He is responsible for the energy that gives vitality and validity to your private multidimensional self, which in turn forms your image in accordance with your own ideas. This private multidimensional self, or the soul, has then an eternal validity. It is upheld, supported, maintained by the energy, the inconceivable vitality of all that is. It cannot be destroyed then, this inner self of yours, nor can it be diminished. It shares in those abilities that are inherent within all that is. It must, therefore, create as it is created, for this is the great giving that is behind all dimensions of existence, the spilling over from the fountain of all that is. I will in due time identify the figure of the third personality. Now, however, I am concerned with the multidimensional aspects of all that is. Such a reality can only be experienced. There are no facts that can be given that can portray with any faithfulness the attributes of all that is. This reality and those attributes will appear within various systems of actuality, in keeping with the camouflage data of any given system. The inner experience with the multidimensional God can come in two main areas. One is through the realization that this prime moving force is within everything that you can perceive with your senses. The other method is to realize that this primary motive force has a reality independent of its connection with the world of appearances. All personal contact with the multidimensional God, all legitimate moments of mystic consciousness, will always have a unifying effect. They will not therefore isolate the individual involved, but instead will enlarge his perceptions until he will experience the reality and the uniqueness of as many other aspects of reality of which he is capable. He will feel, therefore, less isolated and less set apart. He will not regard himself as being above others because of the experience. On the contrary, he will be swept along in a just state of comprehension, in which he realizes his own oneness with all that is. As there are portions of reality that you do not consciously perceive, and other systems of probability of which you are not consciously aware, so also are there aspects of primary Godhood that you cannot at this moment comprehend. There are therefore probable gods, each one reflecting in its way the multidimensional aspects of a prime identity so great and dazzling that no one reality, form, or particular kind of existence could contain it. I have tried to give you some idea of the far-reaching creative effects of your own thoughts. With that in mind, then, it is impossible to imagine the multidimensional creativities that can be attributed to all that is. The term all that is can be used as a designation to include all of those probable gods in all of their manifestations. Now, it is easier perhaps for some of you to understand the simple stories and parables of beginnings of which I have spoken. But the time has come for mankind to take several steps further, to expand the nature of his own consciousness by trying to comprehend a more profound version of reality. You have outgrown the time of children's tales, when your own thoughts have a form and a reality, when they have validity even in other systems of reality of which you are unaware, then is it not difficult to understand why other systems of probabilities are also affected by your own thoughts and emotions, nor why the actions of the probable gods are not affected by what happens in other dimensions of existence. And this concludes this chapter, and I'm moving on now to chapter 15, entitled Reincarnational Civilizations, Probabilities, and More on the Multidimensional God. In a manner of speaking, it can be said that you have reincarnational civilizations as well as reincarnating individuals. Each identity who is born in flesh works towards the development of those abilities that can be best nurtured and fulfilled within the physical environment. He has a responsibility to and for the civilization in which he has existence, for he helps form it through his own thoughts, emotions, and actions. He learns from failure as well as success. You think of physical history as beginning with the caveman and continuing up to the present, but there have been other great scientific civilizations, some spoken of in legend, some completely unknown, all in your terms now vanished. It seems to you that they have, perhaps, but one chance as a species to solve it seems to you that you have perhaps but one chance as a species to solve your problems or be destroyed by your own aggression, by your own lack of understanding and spirituality. As you are given many lives in which to develop and fulfill your abilities, so has the species in those terms been allotted more than the single line of historical development with which you are presently acquainted. The reincarnational structure is but one facet in the whole picture of probabilities. In it you have literally as much time as you need to develop those potentials that you must develop before leaving the reincarnational existences. Groups of people in various cycles of reincarnational activity have met crisis after crisis, have come to your point of physical development, and either gone beyond it or destroyed their particular civilization. In this case, they were given another chance, having the unconscious knowledge not only of their failure, but the reasons behind it. They then began with a psychological head start as they formed new primitive groupings. Others, solving the problems, left your physical planet for other points in the physical universe. When they reached that level of development, however, they were spiritually and physically mature and were able to utilize energies of which you now have no practical knowledge. Earth to them now is the legendary home. They formed new races and species that could no longer physically accommodate themselves to your atmospheric conditions. However, they also continued on the reincarnational level as long as they inhabited physical reality. Some of these have mutated and have long left the reincarnational cycle, however. Those who have left it have evolved into the mental entities that they always were, you see. They have discarded material form. This group entities still takes a great interest in Earth. They lend it support and energy. In a way, they could be thought of now as Earth gods. On your planet, they were involved in 3 particular civilizations, long before the time of Atlantis, when in fact your planet itself in a somewhat different position, particularly in relationship to 3 of the other planets that you know. The poles were reversed. They were, incidentally, for 3 long periods of your planet's history. These civilizations were highly technological, the second one being in fact far superior to your own along those lines. Sound was utilized far more effectively, not only for healing and in wars, but also to power vehicles of locomotion and to bring about the movement of physical matter. Sound was a conveyor of weight and mass.